What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rear Naked Radio. I'm one of your hosts, Jamie Kilstein.
And I'm Drew Weatherhead. And is everybody as bored out there as I am?
I have a stained shirt on right now that I didn't even bother changing for the podcast. I'm completely checked out. Not of the podcast, just like of life in general. Did not do my hair. Your hair looks great. In this order, I was wearing this white shirt. It's my favorite white shirt. I actually look pretty good in white shirts. Got stoned, tried to eat pasta last night, almost spilled the pasta, thought, not today, my friend. Took my shirt off, ate the pasta. Remember, I'm also like divorced, and like this is very the stereotype of like Milhouse's father. Eating the pasta shirtless, fat and shirtless, because no jiu-jitsu. Then was like, all right, we did it. We pulled it off. Saw the white shirt this morning, was like, I'm going to try it again. Put the shirt on, immediately spilled almond butter on my shirt, and was like, you know what? Fucking, I used to wear SUPERARE shirts on the show. Now I'm going to wear a fucking, this is my solidarity to SUPERARE until they come back to sponsor the show, where I'm like, I'm just going to wear stained trash.
Yeah, shirts that people definitely don't want to buy.
To make people like concerned for me. And then everyone's going to be like, SUPERARE, come back, SUPERARE. And they're going to come back like a fucking hero. And then the next show, I'm going to look like a non-douchebag liberal Kobe Covington with just like chicks and like SUPERARE shirts. Anyway, there's your fucking free ad, SUPERARE. I'm a mess. There's your free ad, mental health clinics.
I couldn't even tell you what day of the week it is right now. I couldn't tell you what day of the week it was yesterday. I feel like everybody's getting like a slight little taste of what it's like for actual prisoners. The prisoners out there, they don't even know any different. They're like, stuff's happening? I don't know. Yeah. We're still watching reruns of Family Guy.
They're like, we're used to this. I love that your idea of prison is reruns of Family Guy. Another cutaway gag. We get it. I interviewed Rob Hubel, who's one of my favorite like comedy actor improviser people, and he said he made the big mistake of saying what you just said, but to his wife, where he's like, God, it feels like prison, and she's like, oh, it does, and he's like, no, it doesn't.
Boy. Now I wish it was prison. Get into solitary now.
Right, exactly. You yearn for the days of Peter Griffin's laugh.
I tell you the truth, though. Yeah. I have some wonderful kids that I can't right now. All you parents out there can understand. Like, I love them to death, but I'm done with them. Too much.
My favorite text that I can get from Drew, and I say, like, it's happened multiple times, or anytime I try to like if he needs uplifting, which is very rarely, like I'm the one. We all know, guys. I'm the problem here. And I'm like, but you have like a wonderful family. Like, I'm really lonely, and I will always get in all caps locks, take them.
For God's sakes, for an hour, I beg of you.
Make this end.
Yeah, I get those panic texts from my wife when I'm at the office here doing podcasts and recording and stuff. She's like, are you done yet? ETA? What's going on? I need some time.
Need backup.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's funny, man. Every podcast, I'm like, and this is with my podcast, with our podcast, it's like, all right. And I listened to a couple of comedy podcasts, and everyone is kind of having the same thing where they're like, let's just do a regular podcast. All right, we're not going to talk about it. And then you hit record, and it's just like, I'm in prison. Like, something.
No, man.
So sad.
I was actually joking about this with some of my meme making friends the other day. I'm like, every meme, even in jiu-jitsu, every meme for like the last 4 weeks and for the foreseeable future is about Tiger King, Corona, and how your injuries are healing. That's it.
Yeah.
Just put those together in some mishmash and throw a picture on it.
I'm trying to it's funny though, every time I like do a video that's like not that Corona related, at least for the jiu-jitsu ones, it's like, I think it does like fine. Like, I have 2 I'm sitting on that I think I'm going to do this week. I'm just going to suck it up and do it, which is the gi versus no gi and the UFC one.
Those are evergreen. You can't go wrong.
I think so. But it's one of those weird things where it's like, we're all obsessed with Corona, but we all are sick of it too. You know what I mean? Like, we want to never talk about it again. And it's also simultaneously all we can fucking talk about. Oh, we should say before she signs on, we have a big interview today.
It's true. Yeah, we've got Ffion Davies who's jumping on all the way from the other side of the world to us in lush green, I'm assuming Ireland, somewhere out there by Conor McGregor, I think.
Yep.
I assume everybody lives by Conor McGregor. It's a small island.
That's what Ireland's map looks like. It's just like
Everything
Conor
relative to Conor. I'm at 200 yards from Conor.
Yep.
That was a terrible accent. I'm glad she wasn't here for that.
It was so funny. Oh yeah, definitely don't do it. No, it wasn't accurate. It was fucking hilarious.
What if we went on with Irish accents and made her seem like she was doing it wrong?
That would be great. Let's just do it. And we'd just be like, stop making fun of us.
Like, me Lucky Charms.
What accent is that?
Oh man. No, but for real, she's actually really good at jiu-jitsu. She's not just
very
Irish.
good at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. She's was at ADCC this last year. She's perennial contender and champion at world's mondials.
What are you gonna ask her? I am so removed from jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done the opposite of what I've told people to do. Like, you remember all the advice? Oh, by the way, here's something that happened. All the advice I gave that people are DMing me, like Rear Naked Radio pathogens are DMing me every fucking day.
Yeah.
Like, you have helped me so much. Well, I hope you guys are happy, because at the same time, I've been slowly breaking down into a pile of rubble.
That's what they're doing it for.
I have ignored, you have sucked all of my goodness out. I have ignored all of my advice. I have not, the idea of like, when YouTube like suggests a jiu-jitsu video, it's like they're showing me a picture of my ex. And I'm just like, no, why would you show me that? I can't do anything. This is fucking you might as well show fucking no. And like, just show me my ex getting fucked. Show me my ex getting fucked and her like warmly saying, I love you, whatever.
Still better than stepsisters. Go on.
Yeah. And so such a good callback. And to new listeners, not explaining it, should have fucking been here from the beginning. Where were you? So I'm ignoring all of my advice.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been pretty much shutting myself down from anything jiu-jitsu related. So I'm like, we talked about this last week and we won't get into it again. You know what side we're on because we're decent people if you're new to the show. But when Claudia like DM'd me and was like, you haven't seen that interview of me? It's like everyone's talking about it, and not in like a condescending way. Like she was going to send it to me because she was thanking us, and I was just like, for what? And just because I'm just fucking removed. I left every jiu-jitsu Instagram group I'm a part of. Again, It's like every time I clicked in there, I'm like, might as well just fucking see Diana fucking. And then I almost ignored, you know how when, I should definitely say this before she signs on. You know, when you were a single man, Drew, which I'm sure you're pining for every time your kids are screaming at you, take them. There have been times where I haven't been the smartest. Maybe I just met a lass and we're hitting it off, and I
like that you use lass.
Yep, and she doesn't want me to use a protection, and I look at her and like a doctor suddenly I'm like, she looks fine. That is that is what happened to me, guys. We're going to talk about jiu-jitsu, I promise, but just bear with me. That's what happened to me today. But now, because I'm not like sleeping around, it happened with COVID. It happens when I see someone with a dog, where for the first time since the lockdown, I saw little Peanut with her very elderly owner, and they both looked at me and we had this kind of like, and I was like, I won't. But Peanut was looking the other way. I'm like, I'll leave before Peanut sees me. And then Peanut turned around and saw me and started like ripping at the leash and barking and all this stuff. And I had that sex moment where I was just like, she doesn't look like she has corona. And I almost completely went, like, I could have killed an old woman today because I'm so lonely. I wanted to pet a dog is essentially what happened.
I mean, there's worse ways to go and there's worse reasons. I don't think she would be mad. She's like, look, my dog's cute. I get it.
Yeah, man. And like, I would be able to take care. I would be able to take care of the dog.
Hey, we got Ffion jumping on here.
Yay! Wow,
hey,
she figured
that audio out fast. It must be easier in Ireland.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. You're a little bit. Your Wi-Fi might be a little bit sketch, but we're all right.
Oh, Sorry.
You figured that audio out faster than any guest we've had. You figured it out faster than I did today because I forgot and was just staring at Drew.
Really? Well, that's shocking. I usually don't figure things out for a long time. So
That's fascinating.
That's like a jiu-jitsu person thing though, where I'm like, I'm very good at 2 unmarketable skills and very bad at life.
yeah. I've discovered that more now, more than ever. So that's
okay.
great.
So tell me, what are you figuring out now more than ever?
I don't have any of the skills.
You don't know any other skills? Yeah.
I have no skills. I dropped out of college.
I dropped out of high school.
Oh, now it's 1-0. What did I drop out of? Art school. No, I didn't do that. Yeah. See, I didn't even do it. So there's even better than dropping out.
That's like super hipster
I started, and then I was like, oh, jiu-jitsu is on at the same time. And then I went to don't do that.
Wait, can we talk about that?
How did they put jiu-jitsu in college at the same time? That's just, I mean, you have to choose jiu-jitsu. Well, it's not fair.
There's like day classes. Yeah.
Wait, well, I want to ask you about that because I actually think that's really fucking cool. And I know that the response, and I just met you, but I assume the responsible version of you was like, say that's a bad idea. But in your brain, you're like, that's one of the best things I've ever done. Because like I dropped out of high school. I was 17, which was like a little sketchy. And I started stand up right away. And it worked. But I have lots of friends who like wanted to be in a band or wanted to, do all this stuff. And they went to college not wanting to. If you want to go to college for a purpose, cool. But they went to college not wanting to, and then just ended up having all this fucking student debt, a job they hate, and they like don't get to do the thing they love anymore. So I actually kind of think that's like a badass move.
Yeah, like it's kind of hard because on one hand I'm like, I can't really tell someone else to not do what I did because it did kind of work out. So I can't be like, oh no, you should go to college. And I kind of feel like a lie. But at the same time, I don't want to be saying to anyone to not do that. And like, I don't know, there's a few people who are like, I train with, who are getting to a point where they're like, oh, I'm going to drop out of college and things like this. And it's like, then I'm like me, I don't know if I'm just because I'm getting older. Maybe that's what it is. And I'm like, maybe just have something, won't really interrupt your training that much.
You get that wise parent intuition. It's like, no, you should definitely go to college. I know it worked out for me. Don't pay attention to me. It's not supposed to work out.
Yeah.
I've done that. I've said the things to people that I screamed at my dad. Like, I remember my dad saying it to me, and I responded by being like, I hate you. And then I will say that to a kid where I'm like, you need a backup plan. And then I'm like, what the fuck happened to me? Like, did I hit, like, once you hit like a certain age?
I actually had a similar idea.
Like,
oh, sorry, you go for it.
Sorry, no, to you.
Oh no, you go.
No, we're both doing the thing. There's a little bit of a latency because we're like half of an Earth away from each other. So this is hopefully not good. It's. I think what it is right now is Zoom is being so overused by everybody who's trying to podcast and be better than us, which they aren't. And it's really,
Jesus Christ.
This is the best effort they have at being better than us is by making us bog down. But you're doing great.
So you were you were saying something about telling children to drop out of school to do jiu-jitsu?
Right.
Yes. Yeah, I at first, like, I was like, oh, don't worry about college. You don't need to go to college. You'll just hate your job anyway. And I don't know. And now I'm like, oh my God, I told people to do that. Oh, like, I didn't tell them, but I was like, why not? Like, you only live once.
Yeah,
like, oh my God, I hope they didn't listen to me.
But I mean, that should be like, look, if there's like, I'll just say it so you guys don't get in trouble. If you really want to do something, I remember once the most pragmatic advice I ever got was from Henry Rollins, of all people, the lead singer of fucking Black Flag. And he told me that, I thought he was going to give me some like, fuck the establishment, like, whatever advice. And he just said, as long as you don't quit, he goes, thousands of people quit what you want to do every day. So just by not quitting, even if you're not great, you will as all those other people quit, you will make it by default. And
you
there
just
is
explain my entire history. That's actually
hang
really
around long
depressing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Succeed.
that's what it is. You may not get like the pick of the litter at like the bar at closing time, but if you stick it out, you're not
You
going.
bring someone home.
You bring someone home.
They may not be the best looking, but you do bring someone home.
Certainly won't. In fact, you will regret it almost instantaneously.
End up hitting on the cop that's dragging you out.
Yeah.
You use those handcuffs for me, pretty baby.
So yeah, I had
Drew, for
that.
the love of
I had
God,
that
fish me out of
thought-
this and ask Jiu-Jitsu questions.
I had the same thought that Ffion started with this morning, coincidentally, where I kicked my feet out of bed and sat there for like a hard 3 or 4 seconds thinking, all that's interesting about me is jiu-jitsu. And that was both awesome and terrifying at the same time. And then I put my clothes on and carried on.
Yeah, I don't have many layers. It's just jiu-jitsu. It's really
What are you doing now to kind of like, because we were talking about before you jumped on that I spent weeks giving inspirational speeches about training your mind and discipline and all this stuff, and I've done nothing. I have smoked pot and I've had frozen pizza and like I've done podcasts and shit, and I've run. When I hit rock bottom, I'll go for a run to feel better. But you are, what are you doing to kind of stay sane? Are you having trouble? Do you have a routine that's like helping you out?
So like at first I just got really sad and played Zelda for like 2 weeks.
Good routine.
I was like, my life is over. Like all of my things are cancelled. World is cancelled. And I was just like so down about it. And I just like went deep into Zelda.
You're like, I'm going to go on an adventure with Zelda.
And I was like, I tried to do like home workouts, and fair play to everyone who can do it. I'm doing it now, but I'm going through my stages of grief. But I also then got like ill and stuff, so like that made it worse where I couldn't do any exercise. So like it was just deep on Zelda. And now I'm like doing yoga, which is, I really like it, but it's just so like, it's not like jiu-jitsu, you can just straight away just roll. It's so easy to just enjoy it. Like it's the like the most fun thing. And like I can roll with my partner, but like and it's just so much more fun than anything else. Like I'll do like a kettlebell workout, I'll try go for a run or anything like that, and I do feel good after it because like endorphins, maybe that's what it is. But like jiu-jitsu is just fun straight away. Like just messing around your techniques is just so fun. So
totally. Yeah, running I can do only because I'm getting outside and I can listen to a podcast. But I tried like a home workout once with just some like hot guy in LA doing like weird jumping push-ups, and I'm like, I could beat the shit out of this guy, and push-ups are fucking dumb and I hate this. And if I had Zelda, I would have played Zelda.
You know what I was thinking the other day? Speaking about how Worlds and Pans has been canceled, is they for sure have those medals made for 2020 for Pans and for Worlds. And I mean, they got to make that money back somehow. So I'm wondering if I could just buy one for $20 and hang it on the wall. I bet you they'd do it. And like those shirts that everybody gets, they're going to be collector's editions. You see somebody walking around with a 2020 Worlds, you know that they got some hookups.
Right.
What could have been? I might get one. Can I have one, please?
Yeah, I'm gonna scan
buy
eBay.
like a bronze because you're humble, so you buy a bronze. Like, oh, actually, my performance wouldn't have been that good at the tournament. So
yeah, there we go.
Spoken like a true fucking artist. Just like a little bit of self-hate, where it's like, I'll do fine. I won't win.
I gotta make it believable.
No, I don't think I won. No,
Yeah. If I showed up with a.
That's so funny.
So, what is, because we talk about this a lot on the show, how athletes in our sport get kind of fucked over, and it's pretty hard to make a living. When you start to see events getting canceled, are you like, oh shit, I'm fucked? Or are you like, oh shit, I saved $120 to enter? Like, what? It's such a bullshit system. What's your kind of plan going forward?
So I'm really, really lucky that I have a good sponsor, Kings.
Yeah.
But if this had been like a year ago, I'd have been screwed because I was getting no money from jiu-jitsu. But Kings have said they'll help me and like until this is over, hopefully.
Whoa,
and also
that's awesome.
Well, I mean, I don't know how long they're going to be in a position to do that. Hopefully, I mean, I'm sure they're doing well. I hope. But if this had been a year ago, like I don't know what I would have done because I was living month to month. Just like if I got like a seminar or won a tournament, I'd have to win or medal to get money. So it's like the timing is. I mean, it's not good, but it's better than it could have been. And I also I did a few like little tours and things, seminars, and I saved that money. And the plan was to like open a gym eventually and just keep saving for a gym, or to start a gym. And now it's like, I guess those savings are gonna be spent on this.
Yeah.
So,
can you talk about your kind of mentality? Because I think lots of people either with jiu-jitsu or I mean, shit, it could be with their day job or with whatever, or pursuing their dream of, I'll keep going back to being a musician because I bought a guitar during quarantine, because I'm going crazy.
You're going to start an awesome band. That's what's happening.
Oh, I hope so.
One man.
Yeah. Oh, I will do it. Can you talk about sort of what pushed you through when you were living month to month? Were you thinking this is dumb, I should have gone to college? Were you just so happy? Like I remember when I started to make a living, quote unquote, with comedy, I was technically homeless. I was just driving around in my car, but I was so happy that I didn't have a day job anymore that I was like, this is amazing. Or were you just in full fucking hustle mode? I have to win. I have to like figure out a game plan. Like, how did you handle that kind of like month to month that you were going through?
Oh, I really liked it. That sounds really strange. Like obviously I'd panic and freak out and cry a lot.
Right.
And still do something.
I like that too.
But it was like, I didn't like let anything come into my mind that was super negative. Like obviously I did have points where I'd worry, but like I never took them super seriously. I was just so relieved to not be working. I used to work security for nightclubs. And then just drunk people are the worst, especially when you're a blonde lady and they don't think you're working there. So that's not fun.
Jesus.
So I was just so relieved not to do that. And I was like, I'd moved to Ireland and I was just like, this is so cool. And the training's amazing. And I'm just going to try and win stuff. And then luckily I just get asked to do a seminar like once a month. And I was staying in Dara's spare room, my coach. So he let me stay in the spare room and then in his mother's spare room. So shout out to Blinda. Very grateful.
For people listening,
I like pay rent.
Sorry, I was thinking for people listening from say 10 years in the future, this is kind of a time capsule where the state of jiu-jitsu is one of the best female competitors right now is surviving solely on one sponsor, otherwise would be completely homeless, and this is the pinnacle of the sport. Continue.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's, if you think of it that way, it's like, yeah, like the only reason I can pay my rent is because I have one really good sponsor. And that's it. And I saved. Basically, I saved.
Right. God, that's fucking insane. I kind of want to back up. What was it like? I remember I became really good friends with the fighter Leslie Smith, and I think she's in Bellator now. And she's like a Diaz girl, and she sort of became famous for walking around the Bay Area, and someone smacked her friend's ass, and then she beat the shit out of him and continuously threw elbows at his face while demanding an apology until he finally apologized. Anyway, he's dope, and my friends are the best. What was it like as a fighter being a fucking bouncer at some douchebag drunky club where, like, were you getting hit on by dudes that weren't aware that you could beat the fuck out of them?
Yeah, it was like more, I think it wasn't so much they were like actually thought I was attractive. I think it was just because they realized I was working, so they thought it was like a funny thing to try and hit on me. Or they'd like just make jokes all night about how like, oh, you can't actually work here, you're like 5'3".
Jesus.
And
What
like,
drunk guys think is funny blows my mind.
but they'd start off the night quite nice because they weren't drunk yet, and then as the night progressed, they just became awful. And it's more you watch. Like, if I was on the door, I just like greet people as they come in, but sometimes you go down on the floor and you like kind of watch like the night unfold, really.
Yeah.
And you just see these guys literally grabbing women, and they don't realize because they're drunk. So the women aren't even noticing, or they can't tell who it is as they walk through the club, and people are just grabbing onto them. And then I would say something, and then it'd start a thing. Whereas like maybe the male bouncers would kind of be like, "Oh, it's just what they do." Do you know what I mean? And maybe the girls don't really notice, but like I get mad at it, obviously.
Yeah.
And yes, screwed up. Yeah.
Can I ask you maybe a politically sketchy question? But I'm so curious about your take on this from what you just said. So I feel like because we are so politically divided nowadays, people never see in like gray area. You're either on one side or you're on, another side. And so I would never, ever, 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 and we've talked about this on the show recently. When a guy is a fucking creep, the onus is on the guy. It is the guy's fault, period, cut and dry. But do you ever tell, as a fighter, as someone who has like been in close contact with guys and stuff, is there someone like, would you, and seeing like the shit you saw at the club, is there stuff that you as a fighter would tell your girlfriends to do to like watch out for shit like this? Like, what's the line when it comes to like going out and drinking and shit like that, where you do have to be, unfortunately, like more careful as a woman? And again, like total progressive preface, like the onus is on the dudes shouldn't be creeps, et cetera, et cetera. But do you kind of have to do something different as a woman that maybe guys wouldn't think about?
I mean, for me, it's so hard to think of that perspective because I've never been a person who really goes out, which is why working in a nightclub was quite eye-opening.
Yeah, that's awful.
But I was like, oh my God, people are doing coke in toilets? That's so bizarre. But I was like, oh, I've never seen it. Good to see the bag. Sorry.
Yeah, I still don't believe cocaine is real, and I think it just exists in like 80s comedy movies.
It doesn't. But no, it's hard to answer because it's like I've never really worried. Maybe I should. I've never been a person to walk down the street and worry about that, even if it's just not popped into my head, because I've always trained judo, and that's probably kind of stupid of me, I guess. But guns aren't allowed here, so
right. I'm the only one who's fucked in this conversation. Yeah. No, but I mean, that's a valid point. I think that's one of the things that's the most important about learning jiu-jitsu or judo. You just kind of walk with more confidence, and you're less likely to be a target.
Yeah, I think I've been so lucky that I think because I've got that confidence in myself that it can, like, I guess predators would try, I don't know, like, would they try to, someone who maybe appeared vulnerable, especially someone who's drunk, and I don't know, like, make sure you've got a great group of friends around you would be my advice. But yeah, like, I really wish that there wasn't advice that would have to be given, if that makes sense. Right. Like, I wish that people could just be decent, but at the same time there needs to be some kind of awareness of yourself. And then that's not blaming anyone, of course, like right, but like I think just knowing judo, I thought like, oh, fine, like if I get to a fight I'm fine, because I'd fight guys and I could feel what a trained guy felt like, so I to imagine what an untrained person, and that was judo. So jiu-jitsu is like the best thing for making me feel like a superhero, literally. That sounds really cheesy, but like, because you get to practice with brand new people walk in the door and you actually get to wrestle with them, and you're like, or grapple with them, and you're like, wow, like that's a person who's never trained. That's probably the kind of person who would attack me in the street, and I can feel that level gap. And when I was working on the doors, people, they wouldn't so much attack, but they were trying to resist being taken out of the club, and it would be so easy to control them, just literally grabbing their wrists and holding their wrists down. and then body locking them, and then they couldn't strike you. They try and they couldn't, because, or they'd be really small digs, and it was crazy to just feel the effectiveness of it. And that was, and now I'm like, oh, every girl should learn jiu-jitsu, or everyone should learn jiu-jitsu, unless they're a rapist, then they shouldn't learn jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. all the people you're controlling can continue to not learn jiu-jitsu. That's fine.
Wait,
Yeah,
I just
but
want
if you
to.
are a rapist, don't learn jiu-jitsu, please.
Can we just freeze this just to shout out our friend Helen, who pulls quotes for the episode? Helen, we have found our quote. I believe every woman should learn jiu-jitsu. No, everyone, ... unless you're a rapist. Rapists don't learn jiu-jitsu. There you go.
Well, unlearn jiu-jitsu.
Unlearn.
You are anyone.
Damn. Shots fired. Mic
Put that
dropped.
quote over a sunset background, and then we're good to go. That's Instagram.
I think so.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah, that was an awesome answer. Thank you for letting me stumble through that question. And yeah,
Sorry for stumbling through the answer.
No,
That
that
was
was
great.
really good. I like that that you're talking about the difference between untrained people. This is something that I noticed myself when I started my own gym, because everybody that was coming in, you know, I'm trying to get new students, so most of them are new people, and you realize, like, there's some intimidating, beardy, you know, beefed up looking guys that come in, but they feel like putty when you get a hold of them. It's so funny. They think that they're going to be tough, but it's like playing with a child when you know this stuff. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's my favorite thing about jiu-jitsu. Is that bad to say? I don't know.
no, it's great.
I love
it's
that
a great
abuse
thing
of
to say.
power you can put on these strong guys.
It would only be bad if you were a rapist,
Right.
which
And I'm not.
you are not. So, breaking news on Rear Naked Radio, not a rapist. What's your advice for kind of smaller people who, because you said something really important where you were talking about how just the contact makes you feel more comfortable in these sort of dangerous situations. And you know, when I used to coach, I would tell people who were smaller, who were getting frustrated, even in kickboxing, where it was like just being here and just getting used to your body's response under stress. When someone is grabbing you, when someone is like closer than you'd want, is going to prepare you, even if you're getting your ass kicked in the gym, is going to prepare you for real life situations. Do you feel that way? Was there kind of extra steps you had to take as someone who was smaller? I mean, even smaller than probably a lot of the girls.
In terms of, in which way do you mean? Sorry.
Well, in either, like self-defense, or did you notice that even getting your ass kicked in the very beginning prepared you and was actually kind of like a blessing in disguise?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think just being in those stressful situations, and like especially in jiu-jitsu, where you actually roll, and like you spar every day, and you spar with so many different sized people all the time. And especially when I started out, it was all big men. In my first gym, everyone was a big guy. And there was very few girls to train with. So yeah, like getting that start, and just like, because right now, like, I'm in a stage where I try to train with, because I've got lots of girls in my gym, and they're very good too. So I'll try and roll mainly the girls, because I'm training for competition. Mainly, I'm not trying to train to be the best street fighter.
Right.
Maybe now.
One day. Yeah, that, you're gonna have to go to underground fighting if Kings drops out.
Yeah. I will do it.
I know.
MMA.
I've known you for 20 minutes, and I'm well aware that will happen.
I'm already tempted. So yeah, like just rolling with big guys and stuff, and I think it is kind of I wouldn't say, if you're doing this as a hobby, I guess, I don't know, I wouldn't advise people to roll with giant men, but at the same time, there is such a weird benefit from that, where you just get to be in the most stressful situation you can be, in the most uncomfortable situation. And it's like, and like, I think especially for girls starting out, you see so many of them get so frustrated because they're like, oh, I'm a blue belt and this guy's a blue belt, or this guy's a white belt and he's beating me, or like, you know, someone who's a lower grade and they're beating me, and like, when does it get to a point where I beat the new people coming in? And that should be a goal, rather than it being like the belts matching, if that makes sense.
Right. That totally makes
Doing
sense.
like, I think it's like, if you can beat someone who's come in on their first day, not when they've trained for months, even like if they're a white belt and they've trained for 6 months, but if someone who comes in on their first day, then that's a great goal to have. And like, it might take ages, but like, that's a really fulfilling feeling then as well. And it takes away like that, I don't know, belt thing too, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So to be clear, your advice is drop out of school, fight the new guys, target people who are bigger than you.
Underground fighting.
And underground, if all else fails, underground fighting. Thank you, Drew. I forgot arguably the most important one. Great.
This is good. This is a checklist that we're going to give all the new white belts who walk in the gym now. It's good.
Yeah. Especially if you're like 48 kilo woman, go with the 100 kilo guy on his first day.
I have terrible news. I'm in America, though that means nothing to me. I don't know what any of that means. Those numbers in America, we only count by civilians we've bombed in other countries. That is how.
And hamburgers.
And hamburgers. They're called freedom burgers.
Right.
True.
That's hilarious. I had one more question actually, because you were originally from Wales, right? You're training in Wales originally, but then made the choice to move to Ireland, which I was talking to Helen actually about this, because you two are friends. I'm like, why would she go to Ireland particularly? Because in between those two spots is England, where there's a lot of jiu-jitsu. Was there a reason why you skipped over that and went to Ireland?
Because East Coast is a really, really good gym. And that's not to say that there aren't great gyms in England, but also that we're an affiliate of Dara's gym. And he was like the only place where there was just like, that I knew of at the time, that had just a room full of people who were working at the gym and training all together in the day and the evening, if that makes sense. So like a full-time group. I'm sure there is that in London and things, but there was like, he has a bunch of people who work for him, like they teach classes or whatever. And I went I was affiliated with them anyway, like the gym I was at in Wales was already under Dara. And we would just go out there and train with him every couple of months, go over there, do a few weeks training. I loved that there was lots of like smaller guys who had really great like technical guard games, which I just wasn't used to, because I go to tournaments and I try and fight these girls who are my size, but they'd feel tiny in comparison to me, even though they'd be my size, because they had such like technical, flexible, or it felt like flexible guards. Do you know? It's probably just more their technique. And so when I'd go to Ireland, I just get to roll with people who felt like that, if that makes sense. And he had lots of female students too.
No, sometimes you go to a gym and you just like, I wasn't even a 10th Planet guy, and I went and trained with Gio. Like shout out to Gio and Boogie. And it just like, it was just one of those places where you're like, wow, everybody here like loves each other and is so dedicated and they're good. And yeah, I'm smaller too. So when I find like places that have really good small guys, like Gio's like a fucking little vegan. And it's amazing. So like, I get that when you just like find the right place and you have to kind of.
And I've always been like, it sounds weird, but I had coaches in judo, like just like the coach and the students. And in jiu-jitsu, it's like, if there's like a high level competitor and he's got a team, a lot of those competitors aren't actually at the gym. The coach isn't really at the gym. Not always, like, but here, like in the UK and things, you know, like they'd be off like teaching elsewhere or doing seminars and things.
Right.
Whereas Dara is like, he's at the gym. He is at the gym all the time. If he's not at the gym, he's with us at a tournament. If that makes sense. So
yeah, totally.
I really like the way he was just treating his students, and I just got on really well with him. And we had like a good dynamic of like coach and student, and I just really like that. And like for me, that's important. And at the time when I was in Wales, my coach was my boyfriend, so that dynamic wasn't the best. I mean, it works for some people, but it doesn't really work for me. So
I can think of two people it works for. Every girlfriend I've had, I've tried to get every girlfriend I've had into jiu-jitsu, and I'm like, right away, I was like, this is a mistake. I turned into a shittier person. They're awful.
Yeah.
Like whenever don't get me wrong, whenever I see a couple like training on Instagram or whatever, I'm like, this is all I want.
That's not what it looks like. It's not what it's really looks like. It's a lie.
This is leading Jamie right into his favorite question too.
This is my advice of a couple. This is my impression. I do not do impressions of a couple drilling. Yeah, no, it was fine. It was fine. And that's it. That is my impression. All done. That was it. Yeah, this is great. So this started off as a bit. I have to re-explain this, where I started asking guys on the Jiu-Jitsu podcast their relationship advice. Now, some of the guys had really beautiful, wonderful, because I'm fascinated by relationships. I could talk about it all day. Had really wonderful, beautiful advice. Then some of the guys were pretty as bad as you thought.
You could say Gary Tonin. You can just say
Gary Tonin. and then Craig Jones even brought up Gary Tonin in his answer. It was a mess. And then, do you remember when Craig Jones said that Jake Shields sincerely believes he like is immune to STDs? Or
that's right,
like
because he's a vegan.
Was that what it is?
I'm pretty sure.
Don't you throw us vegans
I
under
would
the
believe
bus.
that.
I think it's just because he wants to have dangerous sex. So this is the first time that I've asked a female this question.
Okay.
Do you have any relationship advice?
Well, do I have relationship advice?
By the way, if you don't have, if something's not striking you right away, it could also be advice geared towards a single person who might be lonely during quarantine, who might be co-hosting this podcast.
I was gonna say, you can say Jamie.
It's me. It's me.
Yeah, you are not immune to STDs.
I'm not.
Good advice. Thank you.
God
damn
it.
That
was the only reason I went vegan. I don't even like animals. I just wanted to have shady sex. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess for me it would be relationship advice. I'm not good at giving advice. As we realized earlier.
There was only one who was the guy who panicked and literally didn't give advice?
Oh, I think that's
even Eddie Bravo, I think, gave advice.
I think he did.
I'm not gonna take
Eddie Bravo was like at his kid's soccer game while doing the interview. He was just like driving around. Yeah.
Oh, is that why he was like this? And
yes.
like,
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure he was actually on the run from some CIA agent.
I know. Yeah. He doesn't have fucking kids.
Well, I guess on the topic, because we were talking about rolling with significant others.
This is what I wanted. Yeah.
Just baiting me with this is just don't allow that. Like I train with my now boyfriend. He trains, but he's not my coach. And he doesn't try and teach me things. Like I'll ask him questions because I respect his jiu-jitsu. He's got really nice jiu-jitsu. So I'll ask him questions and he will ask me questions. I don't know why, but he asks me questions. But neither of us are trying to teach the other. And I wouldn't say to not go out with your coach, but if you are going out with your coach, perhaps have someone else to coach you, because it's a very difficult dynamic.
Was that the thing that bothered you about the previous relationship? Was the power dynamic?
I don't think that was like the reason, but it didn't help towards like the, like that doesn't help. And it's hard. Like I appreciate it was probably really hard for him because I was such an asshole, like to be coached by him. Whereas like with Dara, like I'm not going to be like, "Will you looked at me weird?" Like I'm not going to be like and like sigh and act like a child. Like,
would you rather? Because it sounds like you got a healthy thing going now. Because again, this is a lot of me being alone during quarantine, just like watching happy couples on Instagram. Would you rather date a jiu-jitsu person where you get to roll and talk about jiu-jitsu with the occasional like annoying moment, or date a normie who doesn't understand fucking jiu-jitsu, like will support you, but like doesn't get it?
Like, you can choke his ass if it comes down to it.
Yeah, even though he's like, well, I would just fucking stand up.
This is the thing. So this is the thing, right? I don't want to sound bad when I say this.
I'm so
Okay.
excited for this.
That's a great
It's
lead
gonna
in.
sound bad,
Yeah, go
but
on.
it's also from changing room talks with my female friends who train. It's also the general consensus, I'll be honest with you. And they may not say it,
Wait,
but it's true.
what is the general
Oh,
consensus?
it's coming. It's coming.
Okay.
I can't date a muggle. I'm sorry. It's just, it's not because I'm just like, oh no, it's gross that I can beat you up. It's not that. It's just that there would be a weird thing. They'd have to be quite the person to be like, I don't care that you could potentially strangle me. Really, like,
Right.
they'd have to be so cool. And like, I think that's hard for anyone.
You don't think
know,
this
like-
is like a 2020 feminist statement where like you guys are walking down the street and someone shady's coming and you tell him to switch and you be like, hey, you get behind me, and like you get to I think
hold
that
my
would be,
purse. I got
I
this.
think it's personal preference. Like for me, like I don't want to have someone hide. Like whereas me, like walking around, maybe we could like, I was like saying to him before, I was saying, imagine when someone tried to jump us, they just see this couple, because he's like quite a slim guy as well. Like he's not like big and muscly. I mean, he's very big and muscly.
he's so
If he's listening, he's big and muscly,
he's
right?
so good at sex things and he's filled with muscles.
He's very big and muscly, but may not appear to be.
It's an illusion. He wears
visibly
baggy
not.
clothes.
He wears baggy clothes.
Yeah.
So,
Good save.
like, if they saw us as a couple walking, like, and they tried to attack us, it's like, what a duo we would be, because we're
That's
both black belts.
Right.
So, and I was like,
We're going to set this up now. We're going to have a hidden camera.
Yeah. So I'm like, they'd like attack him, but it's like, oh, it turns out, and they think I'm going to scream and run away, and it's like, no, I'm going to back him up. Let's
You
go.
just turned your back on me, bitch.
Or we could do like one facing the other way, like back to back, and then like, I don't know, I
Nice.
have a
Double
fight scene in
dragon
my head.
style. Love it.
Well, now I have to find a jiu-jitsu girl. Dude, this was such a fucking fun interview. Thank you for doing this like during quarantine, and like shout out, we don't always do this because we got our sponsors, but I want to give a huge fucking shout out to Kings, because there were so many shady ass fucking sponsors who will just like just send t-shirts for like months worth of promotion, and the fact that you can make a living with yours, and there's people out there on the other side that really do care about their athletes and aren't just trying to take advantage of people who want to do jiu-jitsu, I think is so dope. Is there any like do you have their website or anything that we can shout out for them?
Yes, I do. It's kings.com.
Great.
Nailed
Perfect.
it. Wow.
Nailed it. And then where can people, I'm sure they already follow you, but just in case, where can they follow you?
They can follow me on Instagram, not in real life.
Not in real life, because there's two of you, and you have a very big muscly boyfriend who is
Wears baggy clothes.
who wears baggy
Who wears
clothes.
back clothes.
Is
So you
willing
might
to go
tell,
double
but
dragon on you.
Yeah.
on Instagram, if you'd like, because
I don't know, because you're like a world-class competitor or something, some weird reason.
yeah, and I give really good advice, as we can tell.
You do. I thought it was great advice. I'm gonna go follow you. Well, listen, you're awesome. Thank you so much for doing this. Hang in there. We'll all be doing jiu-jitsu soon.
Yay, thanks a lot. It was really fun.
All right, dude.
All right,
See ya.
take care, Ffion.
Hold on. I want you to leave that silence in, because here's exactly what happened. Guys, everybody, I'm not letting Drew delete this. Here's what happened. You
Please let
can
me
edit the
delete it.
silence out, but you're certainly not deleting this part. I said, okay, you lead. And Drew said, got it. And then it was just silent. And then you literally leaned back in your chair in one of those, like, all in a day's work. Like, I was like, Drew, what are you doing?
I would like to take a moment to explain myself,
Yeah,
Your
please.
Honor.
That would be great.
We were discussing about the origin promo. That's, you got me all flustered now. The origin,
so funny.
The
Just blame your
origin
kids.
promo.
Blame your shitty
It's all my
kids.
Fucking kids. I love you, kids, if you're listening to this 10 years in the future.
Oh my God.
Daddy loves you.
Well, we're going to be so famous by then. You're not even going to be
so
at home.
Famous.
We're just going to be on
I'll
the
have
road.
new kids by then. What?
We'll have secret kids.
You're going to upgrade them.
You're going to be.
This is version 1.0. Okay, now they definitely don't like their dad.
I'm sweating. I'm laughing so hard.
Okay. We were talking about doing the Origin promo and ideas for that because, we take pride in our promos. I think we do a pretty damn good job. We don't want to make them sound like they're the same thing over and over.
We're the only podcast in the fucking world. Not only are we the best jiu-jitsu podcast in the world, but we're the only podcast in the fucking world that gets fan mail for their ads.
Yeah.
Because we're ridiculous and shouldn't have sponsors.
so we take that into account. We're like, we want to keep these things bumping. So we had a little bit of idea meeting. And then Jamie says, all right, you lead. I'm like, okay, I'm going to lead the ads. Got it. Yeah. Jamie always starts off the introduction after the guest. So I'm waiting for you to say,
do I?
That was Ffion, everybody, that was Ffion.
Do I do that?
I could throw a montage up right now 19 times.
All right. That's fair. Well, guys.
So, Jamie, I'm going to lead.
Right.
Yeah.
Guys, look, there's a reason that Drew and I keep spacing out. And sure, some of you astute YouTubers could be like, Jamie, is it because we saw you smoke weed literally during that interview like a fucking scumbag? You could say that, or you could say that both Drew and I, Drew, who does not smoke weed, why are we both fucking up? Why is there silence from both of us? Well,
I like how they give yourself the excuse, but I've been like, Drew has no excuse.
Drew has no excuse, except I know for a fact, because so much is happening with the postal service, with deliveries right now. Drew and I did not get our shipment of supplements from Origin. OriginMaine.com. You can get supplements that pretty much make you Jocko. You have discipline, you can lift heavy things, you can kill terrorists. And Drew and I were doing that, and we were great. I stopped taking mine, and I got super depressed and sad. And in fact, I started smoking weed. I've never smoked weed before until this moment because I'm so hungry for my supplements from Origin.
That's right.
Take a little hit.
There you go. My brain is so not in this right now because I'm off my supplements that I actually sound like I'm the one smoking weed, even in my voice. I sound like Aunt Selma right now. I'm the one that sounds like I can't get a thought out of my brain.
Yeah.
And it's usually because I don't have a supplemented brain.
Right.
You need to get your brain supplemented because let's be honest, our brains aren't that great. I mean, we're pretty smart animals in that we've managed to, dominate the world and take it over and whatever. But when it comes to podcasts, look, we did not evolve ourselves to be very good at podcasts. And without the supplement game, I mean, we're really kind of dead in the water.
This podcast would just be like like it would be very bad. I just try to take a hit to be cool, you guys. Look at this. Hold on. Everybody look. Oh, we can plug our YouTube so you can see this.
Oh, that's super cool.
I've smoked so much weed. I've killed the battery in this. And now, if you remember,
this is another time capsule for people 10 years in the future. We needed batteries to smoke weed. Continue.
I know. This is like it's like my Walkman when I had to get like
exactly. Guys, when your disc skips.
I was so obsessed because I was so sad with like my Walkman and Discman that for Christmas, like in my stocking would always be like a huge like 26 pack of AA batteries. All I needed was that.
That's like the Tex Kids version of getting socks. Like you expect it, right? You need those.
Yeah, it was my batteries from my sad healing grunge music that I was listening to. Eddie Bravo instructed me. I was like, I want to smoke weed because I'm trying to stop drinking, but I was like, but I still hate myself and I need something. I need some kind of crutch. And Eddie goes, to start, you should just smoke pot at night. And I forget if I said this or if I said this in my brain. I go, that'll last for a week and then I'm going to start smoking all day. But I instead said, okay. And sure enough, we lasted roughly a week. And by the way, I was killing it. Like I was smoking weed at night. Wasn't even eating that much. Then I would wake up in the morning. I'd get shit done. I'd feel really creative. I have no hangover. And now I think not having that jiu-jitsu balance, it's a little rough. So where do you get balance in a time of no jiu-jitsu? I'll fucking tell you.
Oh, thank God. We're still in the ad. I didn't even realize that.
OriginMain.com. OriginMain.com, you guys. They are our sole sponsor. They are the reason this fucking podcast exists. So if you want this podcast to continue to exist, go over to OriginMain.com. They have the best gis in the world. All their products are made in America. Or
you
like
might
wherever.
have to change the name of the podcast, like the Rear Naked Origin podcast. Now that I think about it, now that I hear it out loud,
it's not good. We could do like a docu-series called The Origin of Rear Naked Radio.
Naked Rears.
Oh God, quarantine's making everyone so horny. I realized I had a good. Oh, but speaking of, goddamn right, Fiona started following me. The other thing I wanted to say, speaking of, if you want to support the show, if let's say you're like Jamie and Drew, because of Corona, I can't go to Origin. I would love to go to Origin, but I lost my job and I live in a box. How? But I still have my phone. T-Mobile can't find me. Suck a dick. Let's say you wrote that message to me from your box.
Yeah.
What could I do to support the show? I love you so much. You're the only reason I haven't killed myself with the sharper edge of this cardboard box. It would take a really long time, but you could go back and forth enough. I've thought about suicide.
And the simple answer is send us your stimulus check from Donald Trump and go to originmain.com.
And also I've started art. So if you could send me your box, because I want to make like an abstract.
We're making homeless people literally have no homes.
I have some like really like chill ideas for like modern art.
Yeah, I know you think you like to use it for like rain or whatever, but I got some cool ideas.
Yeah, some cool. I call this box. Okay, so what you can do is we have, because we're great, the hours on YouTube.
And humble.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I got a couple hits in before my battery died. We have enough hours to monetize on YouTube. Now, you don't make the most money from YouTube, but it's something. However, what we need is should be the fucking easiest thing. I even have it on my fucking YouTube, which is like completely schizophrenic. We just need to get 1,000 subscribers. So guys, you don't have to watch our fucking, like if you listen on audio, I don't give a shit. Just if you want to help the show, and you can write us long ass DMs that take me forever to read and get to the question like somewhere in like the last 80%, and it's like hidden in between a bunch of other shit. You can go over to youtube.com/Rear Naked Radio podcast, or just Rear Naked Radio.
Just YouTube Rear Naked Radio. We're the only one on there.
Yeah, and then just hit subscribe, and then we just have to get over 1,000. Which there are way more than that who listen to this podcast, you fucking freeloaders. And then you get to help out the podcast that you hear for free that you claim to love so much. God, I'm like aggressive.
This reminds me of my favorite part of your personal podcast, the Jamie Kilstein podcast, where you shit on your followers. That's just my favorite part, because as a fellow follower, listener, I revel in being shit on like that. It's so much fun because I know you don't mean it, but you sound so much like you mean it.
Well, the thing is, it's like if you're gonna be a fucking piece of garbage,
go on, continue.
Well, I always like as I'm saying it, I feel bad. Like literally, like even as I was saying that just now, in my head, I'm like, these people support us, and those emails are really nice, and I like getting those DMs. And like the reason I talk about mental health is because like I know that me and now us, we attract kind of like the weirdos in the best way. But then I also realized that because we're weirdos, we probably like all got some daddy issues, so that when I go, hey, are you fucking ingrate, go hit YouTube, they're just like, okay, please love me, and then they'll go and do it. So abuse is familiar to us is what I'm trying to say.
I was going to say for a second, I was going to stop you and say, but I don't have daddy issues. But then I remembered I'm the daddy issue. Right.
Okay. You are the issue. You are the problem.
So I'm still in the group. Let's go.
You're witnessing, you're creating a bunch of little daddy issues.
Right. Hey, future listeners, that's the long play. That's what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
Right on. Hey, kids.
when your kids go when they're explaining to you why you didn't go to college, and it's like, remember when you used to joke that you would tell Jamie to take us because you didn't want to be our dad anymore?
They're for
real
real gonna use this as leverage against me as teenagers. They're gonna be like, oh really, Dad, remember episode 20?
I always have these sad moments on my podcast where I'll shit on my family or like my agents, and then I go, or they, oh fuck, what if they hear it? And I go, no, that's one of the reasons I'm fucking mad is they don't support me and they don't listen to my podcast.
You know what Helen said in our little team group chat thing? She said this morning, she's like, I thought you asked the pathogens last week to go like the YouTube. Like, we're still under 1,000. If this were an actual disease, like, we'd be cured by now. This is a pretty weak ass virus.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Pathogens, we need to get a little more deadly.
Yeah. I think we need to get Helen. I have sincerely, last week was really hard for me where I got really depressed. You were such a good friend, man. Like, you were such a good friend.
I try.
You were kind of like the only person in my life that like handled it right. And you were the only person that I would reach out to because I'm like, Drew's going to be cool.
Well, I had other people reaching out to me to reach out to you. So I was like, I think we're doing this right. But for you, for these people, I'll reach out again.
This is for a select group of people who have depression, who are listening to this show. But man, this joke will be funny for them. Sometimes you get these moments. I'll have these moments where I'll get like a couple texts like oddly timed around the same time, and they're either from my either from my family or they're from a couple of my friends, and you just realize you're like, I'm part of a group. I'm part of a group thread somewhere where someone said, hey, we got to check on Jamie. And then everyone fucking did it at the same time. Every time, like my dad will write and be like, hey, just thinking of you. And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. And then like one of my brothers will be like, hey man, like always here if you need. And you're like, motherfuckers. Like,
I'm the landlord's like, are you going to pay this next month? Cause I got another guy lined up.
And you're
don't like, text back if that's a yes.
They added the fucking landlord to the family thread. Is that cause I'm not, yeah. So that has been happening. But yeah, so you've been the one that I've you've been like a rock.
Still the one.
But Helen has that like fierceness to her. And I say this as such a huge compliment where I won't talk to anyone. I'll be ignoring everyone. And then she'll be like, hey, send a video for the Rear Naked Instagram. And I'm like, you got it. And I will send it in 2 seconds, literally 2 seconds. I will ignore every message being like, are you okay?
Just dodging them like bullets in the Matrix. Whew.
I am the Neo of self-care.
We were just talking actually before we went live here for this about I've been kind of avoiding my own DMs because Jitsu is getting a little out of control. Because usually what it is normally is just people saying, oh, this meme is funny, or oh, this meme I made is funny, you should use that. Which,
but now it's
by the way, they never are. Never.
Now it's people being like, post more of Jamie's comedy videos. They're
right?
So
yeah, it's just I definitely ignore those.
And report as spam.
That's exactly it. No, but like legit between this show and the Reverse Kimura series, I can't keep up anymore on all of these inboxes.
And quarantine, because all these motherfuckers don't have anything to do.
Right. That's what it is. We need to get these guys something else in their life before I actually...
No, we don't. They need only this podcast. You're a shitty cult leader. No, only
pass this off,
do what we say. Let's just start fucking promoting people. You guys want a purple belt? I'll fucking subscribe to the YouTube channel.
This is the power that we have. We got a black belt in here as a co-host that can literally, is the word posthumous? I think you have to be dead for that. Digitally promote people who go like the YouTube. So if you are two black belts, I mean,
because Drew gave me my black belt.
That's true. That's true. Statistically, most people listening are probably white belts. So I promise you a blue belt if you go subscribe to YouTube right now. I just you got to buy it yourself still. I'm not going to send it to you.
Guys, we're in
you
quarantine.
Can just take a picture with I'm going to send you a PNG image of me to put over top, like beside you, with my arm around, and you can just post that shit. I
doesn't even have to be
like, I remember that Dave George, what was it? Who is this one?
Yep, it doesn't even have to be a jiu-jitsu picture. It could be like you at graduation, and we'll like put your face over like your mom's and just like draw in a blue belt. Technically, you have 2 black belts because Drew promoted me to black belt, and I actually have a black belt in my closet for a sketch that I did. Not that one. So I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty much a fucking black belt. So
what I just heard is if you own a black belt, you are a black belt.
You
I
are
like
a
this.
black
Good
belt.
endorsement.
I actually got some really sweet. I wish people listened because I did get some sweet emails from, and I think some cool questions too.
Were there more people promoting you to black belt?
And I wish. I'll take as many fucking black belts.
How many before it's official?
Get.
I thought it was just one. Like one person tells you you're a black belt and you're a black belt.
Did you notice in my last video, which did really well on my page? It didn't do that great on your page. I apologize.
Yeah, it was like
but the one about the jiu-jitsu guy who finds out he has corona.
Yeah.
That whole black belt, like I even use the right names where I'm like, that is how I feel. Where I'm like, I would have been a black belt for fucking years if I didn't move. And I'm like, oh, I'm that guy. And then I was like, I'm going to make fun of me in this video. There's this listener. Man, there were a couple good questions. Guys, here's what you have to do.
Because Francois.
Look, my DMs are all, are you okay? And the jiu-jitsu questions get buried.
And the landlord, there's a smell. Is that you?
Dude, I gotta say again, thank you to Origin. I was one of the people who did get the.
Are we still in the ad? My God, this is the longest ad.
You're gonna get home tonight, and your wife is suddenly gonna turn to you and be like, "OriginMain.com promo code RearNaked," and you're like, "We're still in the fucking ad." That was so creepy. Because of Origin, yeah. I mean, fuck, my building got like an email that's like, we can't extend like rent, you have to pay on the first. And I was just like, I am so fucking lucky. So again, guys, fucking originmain.com. Yeah, so if you want your questions answered, you guys, follow the brand new podcast Instagram.
Yes.
We're almost at 1,000 on there, which is cool. Which is at Rear Naked Radio. And then DM there because we'll be able to file it. Helen's more organized than both of us. And then she can just kind of like send us. And we're going to answer a question right now from there.
Yeah, that's right. Let me pull it up on the old.
But again, I can't stress this enough. Guys, even if you wrote me a jiu-jitsu question, they are buried. Resend them. Just copy and paste. Like, we won't be annoyed. It's not going to seem like spam. Like, I remember getting good questions. And then, you know, you post enough sad fucking Instagram stories where I'm like, comedy's getting me through and the only reason I'm not dead. And then it's like, you're going to get a lot of are you okays.
So send all your questions to Jamie.
Yeah, send them all to me.
Jamie.
If this will save you guys a lot of trouble. No, I am not okay. I am
covered that one.
Very bad. I still want to do that video. It just sucks because the jiu-jitsu ones blow up, but I still either want to do depressed stand-up comic or the one I told you, observational stand-up comic who you can't relate to at all, which is kind of the same thing. Like,
you know, when you end up with broccoli in your hair, we've all had this experience.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Minor, you're so sweet. You're so sweet and Canadian. What the ideas I have already is like, hey, remember when Emma left? Like, it's like that. It's like
just awkward.
It's all dad issues and like, I guess it is the depressed comedian. Yeah, they're both the same.
Hilarious. Okay, definitely do that one. Now everybody wants to hear it.
All right.
Okay, so here's the question. Comes from Tattoos by Harry. So thanks, Harry, and your tattoos.
Ooh, cool.
I wonder.
I think that dude actually fucking wrote me either on Instagram or Facebook. Word. Okay. What's up, Harry?
So Harry is saying, so I was wondering which attribute you consider to be the more important in jiu-jitsu, and he gives a couple exampals. He says to be fast and flexible. Okay. Fast and flexible dick, like Alex Malaga. I don't know. I don't follow jiu-jitsu enough, I guess. Or to have strength and power. I know. Strength and power.
Like Jamie Kilstein.
In and out of positions. Like Fion's boyfriend, skinny though he be. Like Dean Lister is actually who he said, the man with no neck. And also, if you think it's possible to attain both. So this sounds like a great question to start with the strong, powerful Jamie Kilstein.
I would like to point out that Ffion has already written me, ha ha ha, my boyfriend's going to kill me. And she also enjoyed the podcast because my post, which you will see, such an amazing time talking to, here's our Instagram, by the way, guys. It's at FFIONEIRA3. Very complicated. I go, can't wait for you guys to hear her. Hilarious and badass with a huge boyfriend. I put huge in caps lock. Yeah. So, I mean, well, what's interesting about Dean Lister is he's not known for his strength. Like, it really is those little technical details of his leg locks that he's gotten people who are his size with. I think that, have I told the Marcelo story where I asked him if I should lift weights?
Yes. You've told many Marcelo stories.
All right. Guys, I'm friends with Marcelo Garcia.
You need to change the name, but just do the same story. So this time I was with
Garcia M. So I'm just going to tell the story again because we have enough new listeners. In short, I asked him that question. I go, but I asked him, I was like, what should I be doing to supplement jiu-jitsu? Should I be running a lot?
Like supplements. Is this still the ad?
Are we still in the ad?
Oh my God.
Marcelo's in the ad. It's just like this fucking universe that just sucks people in. And he goes, such a good callback, Drew. I was like, or I should lift weights. And he was like, do jiu-jitsu. And I was like, right. But like, what'll help me with like injury prevention? Like, should I lift weights? And he was like, oh, I got a gym. He's like, do more jiu-jitsu. And this went on for a like Abbott and Costello bit length of time. And
you thought this whole time he was just giving you like this life advice that you could tell people later on, years down the road on a podcast, when really he was so new to English. That's literally the only phrase he knew.
Jiu-jitsu.
Just do jiu-jitsu. You're here for jiu-jitsu. Do jiu-jitsu.
I was like, what a powerful story. And then he leaves the gym like 10 minutes later and someone's like, my baby was taken. He's like, oh, jiu-jitsu.
Do jiu-jitsu. Do more jiu-jitsu.
More jiu-jitsu.
That was his agent telling him how to get new students. Just do more jiu-jitsu.
He's in the hospital. It's just like, it's terminal. And he's like, oh, jiu-jitsu. So holy shit. But there is something to that where what you have right now is what makes you special. And I tell people this with comedy. It's like, stop trying to be other people, because this is not the answer this man was looking for. Stop trying to be other people, because your voice is what's going to make you special. When we interviewed Eddie Bravo and he said, I tried to invent a game that he had a special voice. And what if he's in the CIA? It's fine.
He has a CIA voice too. It's kind of gravelly. Hey guys,
this is what I'm talking about.
Guys, I'm running out here from the law, guys.
Yeah. Well, guys. We can cut you a deal. But like, you are what will make you special, right? Like, I'm not a strong guy, so I had to adapt a lot of my game to, in a weird way, like. So, not to brag, but before fucking quarantine, I got up to, I think I got at least one brown belt with tapping them from side control. And it was just like no submission. It was just the kind of Henry Akins principle of just sinking, just bag of sand. And so my top pressure got really good. And
there's a difference between side control and side oppression.
Yeah, that's what it was. This was like side apartheid. And so,
it rhymes. It's got to work.
It was good, right? Can somebody start designing my Jamie Kilstein side apartheid t-shirts, please? Guys, for realsies, if there's an artist out there, I'll give you a cut of it. I mean,
pathogen streetwear.
Pathogen streetwear and side apartheid. We are really trying to get canceled. And so, but like, I developed it out of that. I'm also like, I'm a small guy and I'm not flexible. Like, my guard is like, I'm going to shove your head and stand up so I can play top. Like, I actually don't have a really flexible guard. So like, if you're a white belt, for example, what I would say is being well-rounded, there's something to that. But if you're already starting to be flexible, kind of lean into that a little bit and like play with it and see what you can get from that. If you're overpowering someone and you're a white belt, I would actually say pull that shit back a little bit and try to use technique. But no matter what your strength is, no matter what your weakness is, it does come down to be technical. be creative. I mean, I would take technique and creativity over strength and flexibility, because I think that's my game. I'm weird. You know, that's Jeff Glover, that's Ryan Hall. I mean, they're both flexible, but it's mixed with, like, I've gone with flexible guys who suck and it doesn't do anything. I've gone with big guys who suck and it doesn't do anything. It has to be tied with technique and shit like that.
You know how weird it is when you go against a flexible big guy? Isn't that strange?
It's
you ever run into those guys where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna roll around this? Nope. Wow,
Yeah.
he's bendy like rubber. How did that happen?
Or even like a really big guy with like good guard recovery is kind of like, ugh.
Fuck, I hate those guys.
Usually I can just run around. Yeah, quit. Quit,
just stop.
You fucking piece of shit. Subscribe to the YouTube, then quit.
Is it my turn now? Because this is the longest ad in history.
This is a lot. Guys, OriginMain.com. If you want this ad,
these supplements we need.
If you want this ad to end, go to OriginMain.com. Do we say use promo code Rear Naked? I'm in your brain. Promo code Rear Naked.
Okay, I'm gonna hit this question now because I mean it's basically you nailed the right answer. I'm just gonna try to say it better so people like me more.
Yeah.
So, the question, I think, simply put, is which attributes are better, or which ones should you focus on to get better? And there isn't really a wrong answer. Like, if you're fast and flexible, then that's not wrong. And if you're big and strong, that's not wrong. But the difference is everybody starts with a certain amount of attributes just naturally. You're going to have something or some things that you're naturally good with. That's, first of all, it's going to start off as a benefit because it's really the only fucking thing you got going for you. So you're going to have to lean into that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's really all you got going
That's
for
a great
you.
point.
But as you round out, as you get towards that black belt, which Jamie's never going to get. Wait a sec, which Jamie already got.
Jamie already got
several times over through
from
the DMs.
From you and from a sketch. I think it's a karate black belt I have in my house right now.
It's going to be a great story, too. Like the first sketch black belt. You know?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I fucked up enough black belt. Now I'm getting all prideful. I'm like, let me tell you,
I'm
everyone.
so proud of this.
By the way, wasn't Eddie Alvarez the funniest name I could have chose for that sketch about the UFC guy? Because I improvised that. Dude, that sketch was 10 minutes long. I improvised the entire thing at 6 a.m. in one fucking take. And I thought on the spot where I was like, I don't want to use his name because that wouldn't be respectful. And then like I just went through in my brain. Well, I went through UFC guys I actually tapped, but they didn't have funny names. And then, but something about saying Eddie Alvarez really quickly, it made me so happy. It made me so happy.
It was great. Now back to me sounding smarter than you.
Yeah,
okay.
I had to cut you off so it didn't happen.
Right. OriginMain.com.
Promo code Rear Naked.
So you can have whatever attributes you start with. That's all well and good, and it's going to be all you got for a while. But as you get later on into the belts, especially towards black belt, you really need to have a well-rounded game. So what those attributes are going to inform is what you need to work on. So you're going to know what your holes are by what you're good at. So if you're big and strong, you're probably not fast and flexible. If you're fast and flexible, you may not be big and strong. Now there's two different ways that you can deal with that. Once you figured out what the holes are, you can either try to create those things for yourself. So I'm fast and flexible, so I'm going to be big and strong. I'm going to eat a lot of acai, pray to Jesus, and take my steroids. Or, and that's not wrong, except,
the Jesus part.
On social media. It's definitely not wrong to win worlds with, and it's definitely not wrong to be the king with. So you could do that. You could do that to fill in that hole. Is just, I'm going to be that thing too. That, in my opinion, is the hard way to do it. Definitely doable. If you want to be that workhorse, you can do it. You can be the big, strong guy. You can be the fast, flexible guy if you're not naturally. Or you could be lazy like me, do the easy thing, and just figure out the way to counter those things you're not good at.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Like I'm a fast, flexible guy, and I could be a big, strong guy, but I don't want to because it's hard and I'm lazy. So I've just built a system to my own style, knowing that that's what I'm not, to be able to counter people who are.
Which again, it does go back to that kind of innovation where it's like you just figured out how to make it work. The one more thing I'll say that I kind of thought of.
OriginMain.com.
Or promo code Rear Naked. Guys, if I don't have the show, I'm going to kill myself. There you go. Is that what you guys fucking wanted? Is that what you wanted? Go to OriginMain.com or at least subscribe to the YouTube.
You're going to worry your landlord. Continue.
Make sure, look, I have beaten the shit out of
This ad.
way bigger guys
Mhm.
by being faster. And I've also gotten held down by bigger guys for being smaller. And I just want to make sure that the person who wrote this and anyone like this, make sure you're not looking for kind of, again, I'll use a comedy analogy, is when people go, how do you get an agent? It's like, you get good at comedy. So sometimes we're
Just
looking for
more
the,
comedy.
yeah. But sir, you have cancer. Comedy. Which is like, make sure you're not asking that question, and you're not doing this consciously by any means, but because you're looking for the right answer. Because the right answer is just train, you know, like. And also the other thing I would say is that if you're not strong, I say this whenever I see a smaller guy being spazzy, where I go, bro, like, you're not going to be stronger than that big guy. So why are you trying to match him with the thing he has over you?
Yeah.
That's the point where it's like, all right, if you're smaller than everyone, I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, don't be the strength guy. You know what I mean? Like, get fucking good at being fast and tricky. Like, when I was a white belt, it wasn't called technical. It was called wily, because someone got on top of me and I would just fucking squirm and figure out ways to like get under their leg. It was like a cartoon chase.
Boy, he's wily.
Yeah, but like I've seen guys my size try to be, you know, like when they're grabbing on and they're fucking, you feel it.
It's my favorite, man. When you get a new white belt in there and they're like 145 pounds and they try to bench press you off. I'm like,
Yeah,
this is 100% the wrong idea.
It's
the wrong idea for the 240-pound guy.
You know what? I'm going to give you your waiver and money back. But yeah, I mean, it is that instinct, right? Because you just go, oh man, freak out. But yeah, don't do that. So hope that answered your question, guys. Once again, we love answering your questions.
Yes.
If you want to write into the show, you can send a message to rearnakedradiopodcast@gmail.com, or you can DM our brand new Instagram when you're over there following us at Rear Naked Radio.
And we will only answer if you follow us.
Yes, correct. And then this week we're going to do our first gym highlight series episode, whatever. It'll be an extra episode, which is really cool. We're gonna have Kyle Kingsbury next week.
Yes, we do.
Ooh, I'm gonna shoot him a message. So
you definitely have to smoke a lot of pot for that one.
I will. I feel like I have a lot of mushrooms.
Jamie's gonna be crawling on the wall talking about demons and trolls.
Someone offered to send me DMT, and I'm like, let's wait till the global pandemic's over. But like then, like, sure, yes. But Drew, explain to the fine folks what we are doing.
OriginMain.com.
OriginMain.com.
Promo code Rear Naked.
Promo code Rear Naked. Get your supplements.
Supplements. We are doing. Basically, you can sponsor yourself an episode. So if you love the show, if you have a job right now, you know, a lot of people don't. We're not asking people to give us money they don't have. So please, if you're that person, we're not going to take it.
And this is not from, I've said no to friends.
Yes, so have I.
This is also not for gym owners. This is for students who are well off, white belts, blue belts, whatever, who want to show support for their gym.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that are pooling their money together and getting that money sent to basically sponsor us for an episode for them in their school.
So instead of just a 5-minute Origin ad, or in this case, a 30-minute Origin ad, we're gonna do an episode spotlighting your school. We're still gonna make it accessible to everybody to listen to. It's a cool way to get your gym to like listen to the show. And then we're also, even though we're refusing to take money from gym owners and we're just looking for like the white belt with money or 3 or 4 people pooling together, we're still more than 50% off will be charge our sponsors for the episode.
It's people helping people is what we're doing.
I'll just fucking say it. It's like, if you got find $250, $250, and then we'll do a whole episode on your school.
Sweet. So $350.
And 400, you guys, $450.
No, just half off of our regular 10,000
of our. Guys, if you could just give me your wife.
Plus 25K.
Plus 25K to
Keep the kids.
Put up with your wife. Yeah. I do not want children. Drew, should I not have kids, by the way?
I mean, I feel like you've got enough daddy issues. You don't need to be the daddy issue. What do you think?
That was some tough love that I need. By the way, everyone who's listening to the show is like, this is how you handle someone with depression? No, this is how you handle me.
No, you send them your kids.
If you're Drew. If anyone else is like, oh, that's what I do. I'm going to send Jamie a funny message and be like, hey, you'd be a bad dad. I'm like, I'm going to block you and I'm going to.
What an asshole. Who would say that?
Sobbing uncontrollably.
He's going to message me and I'm going to have to take him out of his depression and tell him exactly the same thing, but it'll mean more coming from me.
Yeah. Well, guys, we love you so much. I hope, by the way, when I open up about my depression and shit, it's not by any means being like everything's bad. Like, it's not. The majority of things are really good. I'm very open about mine because, one, that's how I deal with it. But two, I know it helps people sometimes just to feel less alone. For me, the times that have been the scariest with my depression, and some of you might be going through this right now with the quarantine, are when I feel crazy. Like, I'm the only person who feels this way. And it's when you're out of it, it's such a ridiculous thing to think. But man, when I hear musicians I love or jiu-jitsu people I love, or, again, on the Rob Hubel interview, he's one of my favorite sketch comedy guys of all time. And he was like, oh, I still think everything I do is shit. And to hear someone you admire say that, you go, oh, you know what I mean? Like, Steven Spielberg feels that way. Fucking jiu-jitsu guys feel that way. Like, there are times where fucking Gordon Ryan probably leaves practice being like, fuck.
Man, I hate homeless people.
Yeah, man, fuck these people. I'm going to send their box to Jamie.
I
shouldn't say this, but I unfollowed Gordon during the homeless corona thing. And suddenly I'm just like, oh, no one in the jiu-jitsu community fights. Like, my Instagram is so peaceful now. And I'm just like, oh, this is lovely. It's like a nice little stroll.
Yeah, he's got a monopoly over that side of the whole thing. So.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, guys.
The thing about, like, I've got a lot of friends that have not to make you sound like you're not important. A lot of people with depression, chronic depression. Yeah, I know.
Fuck them.
You're not the only one, but
don't look, take my fucking. This is all I got.
You're my favorite co-host that does. So.
All right.
Okay.
That's not suspicious. Just sad enough to have heard it wrong.
I'm just saying, I know enough people and have dealt with it long enough to know that chronic depression is a thing that needs to be dealt with constantly. And it's not something that, I think a lot of people get it wrong if they have that one friend or they know that one person is like, I'm going to make them feel better, and they're going to feel better.
Yeah.
That's it. I just got to tell them that I love them, and that's it. And they're going to feel better. And then like 3 days later, a week later, they're feeling bad again. It's like, I told them I love them. I can't, am I supposed to tell them this every week? Are they short-sighted? Do they have no memory?
Should I just schedule something on Gmail to just keep sending them every Monday?
The first message was, I love you with a heart. The next one was, I love you with a period. It's just like, I love you. We did this.
The last one's just K.
Exactly. No, but I might be showing my hand here to Jamie, who I do love and don't want to kill himself. But showing you love your friend is going to be infinitely better than saying it. Not everybody wants to hear, I love you, don't kill yourself, when they're feeling like crap.
Dude, I'm so glad you said that, because I talk about mental health a ton, and I've never really had that till this.
Well, I know you, so I know that, like, bullshitting with you is showing that I love you.
Yes, 100%, because I've actually had really lovely conversations with, like, strangers on the same days that I'm ignoring a lot of my friends. And when you said that, it's like, you fucking nailed it, where there are times where people being like, hey, are you okay? I have your back, and like, anything you need. It actually, and I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying you never know, because and you gotta read the room a little bit, because for me, when I get like one of those, I'm like, oh, that's really sweet. When like my fucking DM box is like everybody saying that, then I go, am I fucking broken?
Yeah,
and in a weird
like
way,
a piece of shit a little bit more, right?
It hammers in this, like, you are sad. And then I kind of start taking it on, where I'm like, all right, I guess I'm the fucking sad guy.
Exactly.
And one of the beautiful things about Jiu-Jitsu is it's sort of like it snapped me out of that that kind of victim mentality of like, oh, being the sad guy is the cool thing, or that's my image, where it was like, hey, shit can suck sometime, but you're gonna be okay. Let's just work the fuck out of this. And that's how I've applied jiu-jitsu to my depression. And I have noticed that without, even though I'm not, you know, I'm throwing myself into all this other creative shit to kind of fill the void that jiu-jitsu left, I will say that, and I've had moments where I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm good enough at jiu-jitsu that I'm like, I can still just host a podcast and not go back. Just because it's been so long. I think we've all had these weird ups and downs. But that is what I'm definitely starting to go back into, that like, oh, I guess I'm just the sad artist guy. And then, yeah, having everybody do the right thing, the sweet thing, by being like, hey, are you okay, buddy? Everything. Some fucking girl left me like an audio message of like a poem, and I was like, I can't listen to this. Like,
it's so sweet, though.
It's the sweetest thing in the world,
right? But it's just not the time, right?
I'm just like, I can't. Yeah. Is that how bad I am? I poetry bad? Is that the vibe I'm giving out right now?
You're gonna get slam poetried out of depression just by snaps.
Sadness is
an
illusion, man. Dick Cheney is the enemy, man. Like, oh no.
Yeah. So like, I think for people out there, I hate to be advice guy, but this is something I feel pretty good about.
Really
I feel pretty strong about is you got to know who you're talking to. So if you've got a friend who is depressed, talk to them as your friend, because they don't want to hear that you love them. They want to feel that you love them.
Yes, 100%, 100%. And what's cool is like, you'll say stuff like that. You'll still throw in like, I love you, dude. Dude, you know what's really nice when you say, you're like, oh, I was thinking about you. And I go, that's so fucking nice, because it's like, I'm still there. No one's mad at me, but like,
I legit was, you know?
And then you'll bullshit with me, and we'll like banter. And then you go, all right, dude, I'm here if you need me. And it's just like, oh, thank Christ. That's perfect. But when someone's like, I need to check up on Jamie, and then like I have like 25 text messages, I'm just like, ugh, like I can't. It's more panic. It's more stress. It's more like, oh, I'm letting these people down if I don't write them. I mean, that's why I left all those fucking groups. Because I was just like, it's too, like, I can't take more information right now. I just need to like,
chew up all your mushrooms. Talk to Kyle Kingsbury.
I mean, should I take like just like a little bit for the Kyle? I'm gonna text Kyle and see.
I'm the wrong guy to ask, because I'm always gonna say yes. You gotta do it, because I just get to watch as the sober guy just you melt down. It's gonna be hilarious.
You have a list of actual questions prepared.
Okay.
Because I'm just gonna be telepathically asking him that.
All right, licking the camera.
I gotta say, the last time I did mushrooms, it was the most responsible, life-changing. I had my intentions. I had music. I turned my.
From your point of view, you were actually naked in the street shitting on a small dog, from what I remember. There was pictures.
That's why they didn't want me petting the dog today, not because of Corona, but because like, does
you
he not
remember it? You remembered it as a beautiful,
all over this
life-changing.
I was like rubbing his face. I was just taking a dump on a dog. You guys, that's been the episode. Thank you so much for all the support. Thank you for all the messages. We hope that during this time of no jiu-jitsu, that we bring some joy into your life, some memories of the sport that once was, and
above all, guys, originmain.com.
Promo code Rear Naked. Get supplements, get gis. I mean, God, what better way to feel like jiu-jitsu's coming back than to get a bunch of fucking jiu-jitsu gear?
I can think of one way. You could go subscribe to the YouTube. That would be one way.
You fucking monsters. Just go do it. Jesus Christ.
How hard is it? It's not that hard. It takes like one click.
I have to look at Instagram and be sad that that's not my life. Yeah, just go do it. All right. We love you guys so much, and we will talk to you next week. Bye, pathogens.
Peace.